For 90 days, I used apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of that, and some water and drank it, and I lost 45 pounds. And I want to go over if apple cider vinegar actually works. Is it just hype? And what's the difference between taking it in liquid form versus gummies, which are super popular and growing in popularity every single year? Apple cider vinegar is just fermented apple juice. And through that fermentation process, it makes acetic acid, which is the active compound for everything that we're going to talk about in terms of its benefits. The raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar version has that little dust cloud at the bottom of the bottle, and that is called the mother. Beneficial bacteria, enzymes, protein, all from that fermentation, and all the research has been done on this form. Not the clear filtered version, and definitely not the gummies. The evidence and scientific studies strongly correlate with blood sugar and glucose spikes. The enzyme in that cloudy dust that I talked about in the drink is what breaks down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. Slow that enzyme and you slow how fast your body can actually absorb glucose and how quickly a carbohydrate meal can spike basically your energy and then have it drop. Having apple cider vinegar before it basically flattens it a lot more, so you don't have that spike in energy and then crash later in the day. There was a study in 2004 that looked at this exact concept, and having apple cider vinegar before a carb-heavy meal had up to a 34% drop in that insulin spiking. And there was a fat loss study done in 2025 that looked at 861 adults, had them take apple cider vinegar over 12 weeks, and in this randomized study, they lost 1.2 kilograms, or around 3 to 4 pounds in the 12 weeks. Not 5 to 7, but still real measurable results. The most popular study came in March 2024 from BMJ Nutrition, Prevention, and Health. It was a randomized double-blind study and sounds super credible, and it claimed that Lebanese adolescents and young adults who consumed daily amounts of apple cider vinegar lost 5 to 7 kilograms in 12 weeks. The study went viral. It was all over YouTube, news. People are still using it as a reference point, but here's what you need to know. In 2025, September last year, 18 months after it was published, the BMJ group that did the scientific study retracted the paper. The statistical analysis was deeply flawed. The values described were implausible, and basically independent researchers tried to replicate the results multiple times and they couldn't. They implied that the metabolic effects of the apple cider vinegar had to boost the body's baseline metabolism, how many calories we're burning, by 40 to 60% for them to achieve their results. So they basically lied in the study, and it has been used and cited a lot to sell supplements, to get people on using apple cider vinegar thinking it's just a fat-burning organic tool, and it is not. It does have downstream effects of helping with metabolism and fat loss, but it is mainly for digestion and glucose blunting. And speaking of using it to sell supplements, gummies versus liquid, here's the honest answer. Most people are wasting their money. You can see even on Amazon, there are tens of thousands of people buying these supplements every month, and it is one of the most fastest growing supplements in the fitness market. Liquid ACV contains 5 to 6% of acetic acid per tablespoon. A typical gummy serving contains around 500 milligrams of ACV powder, which is significantly proportionately less than just a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And the active compound is basically so diluted by the time that you take this gummy, it's not even really doing anything that it's proposed to do. The manufacturing process for these gummies uses heat, which degrades the apple cider vinegar even further, and then your body has to digest the gummy before it can even access any of the active ingredients from the apple cider vinegar, which delays and reduces absorption compared to that of liquid. And then there is the sugar problem. I saw that people are starting to come out with sugar-free gummies, but most of them have sugar, and if you're taking something specifically to manage your blood sugar response and the product contains sugar, that works against the whole point of taking it. But the honest case for gummies, if the taste of apple cider vinegar actually, makes you not take apple cider vinegar at all, a gummy is still probably better than taking nothing. I take 1 tablespoon in about 12 ounces of water with some creatine and Baja Gold sea salt to try and get a full cocktail in the morning to help my body optimize for the day. But you always want to dilute the apple cider vinegar taking it by itself can erode our tooth enamel, that covering on the teeth, and it can damage your esophagus over time. So you don't want to just like rip a shot of apple cider vinegar by itself. And sometimes apple cider vinegar can mess with acid reflux, GERD, kidney issues. So I would definitely try and do your own research and speak to a doctor before doing any of this. But here's what I want you to take from this video. The viral study was fake. The retraction happened, but the viral cycle did not stop. A lot of people are still using it and pushing it to sell supplements, but there is real science on apple cider vinegar being meaningful. And the strong evidence is in blood sugar and glucose spike reduction before meals. And that is exactly why I take it every morning. Use the liquid, skip the gummies, and take it diluted before your biggest meal and be consistent with it. I still think after reading this research that it has great benefits in digestion, along with leveling out energy levels over the day, especially around carbohydrate meals. But taking it by itself is not going to get you fat loss. You need to be in a caloric deficit. We want to exercise. There's a bunch of other things that are more beneficial to that. If there's a supplement that I would say besides apple cider vinegar that you could take that would actually help with fat loss is psyllium husk powder. I'll link that video below. It's my most viewed video on my channel, and that thing will actually help you aid in the fat loss. The studies I reference are all below in the description. Appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.